Hey girl, hey, and welcome to the Self-Love Fix podcast where we get relatable, we share tea, and we support each other on this journey of self-love, self-worth, personal development, self-esteem, and self-care. Because why wait until it's too late to start becoming the best version of ourselves? Let's start today. And I'm your host, Beatrice. So let's get into it. Hello, and welcome back. I feel like it's been quite a minute. I think it's been about 2 weeks, but I'm here now, and I hope you all are doing great as usual. I just wanted to start off by saying thank you so much for the reviews once again, and even just the emails and the messages and the DMs. It's so great to hear that all of you guys are benefiting from this podcast and that this podcast is just doing something for your lives. Like, it's so great to hear all the nice things that you have to say. And if you haven't gotten a chance to leave a review, please do leave a review so other people can find this podcast and hopefully you can help them too. Because every day I'm finding that someone else is discovering this and it's doing something for them. So that just makes me feel warm inside. So this week, I wanted to kind of do a topic on consistency and being consistent in your goals, really, and not procrastinating. I think that is something I can identify with, and I'm sure a lot of you can identify with. And the reason I wanted to talk about this today is because if you haven't watched Homecoming, Beyonce's documentary on Netflix, you need to, by the way. But I was inspired to talk about this topic because of that documentary. I'm not going to do any spoilers or anything like that, but basically the main gist of the documentary is really just going through Beyonce's work ethic. Like, it's just showing you how much work she's willing to put into the things that matter to her. And it's just crazy. I mean, she has the drive that I've never seen in my life. She just puts her mind to something and she just gets it done. I mean, she had twins. She had complications in her pregnancy. She went straight from her pregnancy to, practicing and rehearsing and creating this whole, performance for Coachella, and it was insane. A 2-hour performance. I mean, I didn't go to Coachella myself, but if you did, I'm super jealous. I didn't go myself, but I mean, the fact that it was a 2-hour performance, and I mean, even her dancers got a break, but she was out there the whole 2 hours hitting every move, singing every note and hitting every note. I mean, not missing a beat. It was insane. So if you haven't watched it and you have Netflix, you should watch it so that you can also be inspired by her insane work ethic. It's just unmatched. It's unmatched. So anyways, like I said, that was the inspiration for this week. I just want to get into basically when, you have a time in your life when you just don't have that drive and that Beyonce work ethic and you're just kind of stuck and you feel like the things that you want to accomplish, but actually sitting yourself down to do it is just something that you can't do. And I was thinking about it, and I feel like there are 3 different reasons why we just come to a stopping point or why we just procrastinate or lack consistency. And before I get to that, I wanted to mention, for example, with me, I'm the type of person, I don't know about you, maybe you can relate. Let me know if you can relate. I'm the type of person that I start things and I'm all for it. I'm talking, I have a Virgo Mars, so I make lists, I make to-do lists, I plan out things quarterly, plan out things monthly. I figure out how I'm going to achieve this goal and I'm all for it in the beginning. And then maybe a month goes by, maybe 2 months goes by, and I just fall off. I don't keep up with it, or I'm less consistent, or I do things at a later time instead of, on the schedule I created for myself. And that's what happens to me. But then instead of me to continue that, I start up a new project and have that same fervor for, again, another 1 to 2 months, and then I fall out. So I don't know if you can relate to that, but I was sitting here thinking about it as I was watching Beyonce's, Homecoming documentary, and I'm not the type of person to compare myself to somebody else. Rather, instead, I allow myself to be inspired by someone else. So like when it comes to Beyonce, it's not like I'm sitting here like, dang, Beyonce's really out here working this Coachella stage. What am I doing? Like, that's not how I approach it. It was more like, wow, I'm really inspired. I wonder where she gets that drive from and what pushes her to continue. So, like I was saying earlier, I believe there's three main reasons why we fall off from our goals, or why we procrastinate, or why we just lack consistency. And I think it is: one, lack of inspiration; two, an unwillingness to come face to face with your insecurities; and three, a lack of drive due to a lack of incentive. Yes. So that's what I came to the conclusion of. And let's just jump right into it for this week's episode. So the first reason I believe that we lack consistency and drive is due to a lack of inspiration. So if you think this might be you, let me explain further. And this is me, by the way. And I discovered this. I had to have what do people say? A come to Jesus moment, I guess. I had to look myself in the mirror and say, this is why you are not consistent. This is why you are lacking in, drive at times. It's because of a lack of inspiration. So with me, I have times where I have a clear view and clear vision of what exactly I want to do for a project, or how I want to execute a project. But as I go along, I find that sometimes I lose the vision, or I lose the sense of direction for a project that I may have. And when that happens, I find myself just kind of sitting and not doing anything, and just thinking to myself, okay, it'll just come. And then a day will pass by, and then 2 days, 5 days, a week or two. And then I still haven't done anything because I'm just quote unquote waiting for the inspiration to come to me. But if we know anything about hard work and good work ethic, we know that we don't stop when we don't know what to do. Even when we don't know what to do, we still keep going until we figure out what we know we need to do. So I had to look at myself and go, I've been lacking inspiration in some of these projects that I want to finish, but that doesn't mean I need to stop and wait for something to hit me on the head with an idea or with a clarification in the vision. No, it means I need to keep going until I get a clearer vision. Because if you think about it, if that were the case, I'm pretty sure Facebook wouldn't have been invented. I'm pretty sure Tesla wouldn't have been invented. I'm pretty sure, I don't know, a website like Refinery29 wouldn't have been invented if people were just like, I'm just going to wait until the whole thing comes together in my mind somehow. And then I'm just going to go ahead and execute it. That's not how it goes. And I had to have that conversation with myself in my head, like, that's not how it goes. So, and I don't know if it's something in the stars with, I'm really into astrology. So I wonder if there was some full moon or something. I don't keep up with all of it, but I wonder if that's what got me to come to this place to realize that, lack of inspiration is a major source of procrastination and lack of drive, but it doesn't need to make us stay in that state. It doesn't need to make you stay in that state. So if you feel that you have a lack of inspiration, just know you're not alone, first of all, because I've been there many times over. So just know you're not alone, but also know that keep going, keep doing whatever it is, whatever goals you have, keep going. Even if you don't see the picture, just keep doing something until you see it, because eventually you'll see it. You just got to start. You just got to get your hands in there, or get your hands dirty. I think that's the phrase. I'm really bad at, these like American phrases, but you just got to get your hands dirty and eventually you'll build something. Was that a word? I think that was a word. You just got to get your hands dirty and eventually you'll build something. Ooh, I like that. Anyways, moving on to the second point. So the second reason you may have trouble with procrastination and consistency is an unwillingness to face your insecurities. And I also got this concept from the Beyonce documentary, because there's this one line. I actually didn't hear it when I watched it, but I saw it on Twitter, where she says that most people don't want to rehearse because it humbles them. And she's basically trying to say that like most people don't want to do the rehearsal part. They just want to jump straight to the finished product because doing the rehearsals, it will humble you. It'll show you that you make mistakes. It'll show you that you're not there yet. It'll show you that you still have work to do. And when I saw that, because I didn't hear it on the documentary, I just saw it on Twitter, I was like, Beyonce, if you don't write a book and educate us, because she has never told a lie. That is absolutely so true. It humbles you to do the work process, to not have it all together, to be in the place where you have the blueprint, but not the finished product. It humbles you. And, if you can relate to this, you probably are the type of person that, when you think about the project that you have to do, whether it's personal, whether it's work related, whether it's school related, it's like that elephant in the room that you're not addressing. And like, it's this really big elephant and it's there, but you're like, what elephant? Just ignore it. And you probably find yourself doing things like watching Netflix, calling your friends, maybe even cleaning a cabinet or two, anything to distract you from actually doing the work process, because you might feel that insecurity. You might feel like, oh my gosh, I have to come face to face with the fact that I don't know what I'm doing and I don't know where to start. And, maybe you're just overwhelmed in the first place, which can contribute greatly to the insecurity that you might already be having. You'll definitely feel this one if you're more of a perfectionist, and maybe in your life and with your accomplishments, you're used to kind of always executing and always doing what you need to do at the best level. And so when you're met with something that, requires you to learn or requires you to humble yourself, and because you don't know all of the things, it might be difficult for you to accept, and it's probably easier to just avoid it altogether than to try and start from the bottom and go up, or start from the bottom and, learn it forwards and backwards. And I think ultimately the real reason behind procrastination due to insecurities is directly related to a fear of rejection. Because like I said, this is probably you'd probably relate to this if you're a perfectionist. And being a perfectionist, the underlying kind of, not cause, but biggest contributor, because I was a perfectionist myself, so I feel like I can kind of add some 2 cents on this, but the underlying contributor to it all really is rejection, the fear of rejection, because in your mind, you're just thinking, if I do this wrong, people are going to have something to say, and they're going to think I'm just terrible at this. They're going to have negative things to say about me. So it really comes down to a fear of rejection. But we honestly cannot let that prevent us from getting to where we need to be and accomplishing our goals. There's a reason we have rough drafts for essays. Because you can't get it right the first time. You got to make mistakes. You got to have rough drafts. So whatever you're working towards, even if it's not the best thing out there, at least you're doing something. And eventually, as time goes on, you'll perfect it and you'll get better at it. But you can't get better at it and perfect it if you don't start. Just watch Beyonce's Homecoming and you'll know what I'm talking about. She had a scene where she was struggling to get the steps. But if you look at how she performed at Coachella, you'll see she never missed one. So we all have to start somewhere. That's really the bottom line. So, and again, for this one, if you find that you procrastinate or have lack of consistency due to a fear of rejection or due to insecurities, you're not alone. You're really not alone. I've been there too. I really have been there. And there's many other people who are there. But if you just can push past it and just keep doing, just take small steps, small baby steps, and keep doing something, eventually those insecurities will fall off. And that brings me to my last reason as to why you may be struggling with procrastination and lack of consistency, which is you may have a lack of incentive. So maybe you're the type of person who in school you thrived, whether it was college, whether it was high school, whatever grade or whatever type of schooling you were in, you thrived. And the reason is likely, or one of the reasons is likely due to the fact that you had incentive, getting that good grade, getting into school, getting into a program, things like that. So you had a drive. It was already provided for you. You didn't have to do anything extra, right? And maybe now that you're out of school, you're finding that you don't have that same drive in your personal pursuits or even at work, unless, of course, there is an incentive at work. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. Maybe you find that if you have to set personal goals at work that, don't give you any kind of accolades or anything, you might find that to be difficult. Or personal goals in your life, you might find yourself really procrastinating, not having any kind of timeline or goals, and you might just push it all to the side altogether. And it might be because of lack of incentive. So when we're talking about personal goals, no one is there to tell you that if you do this thing that you're going to get X, Y, and Z. No one is there to hold your hand along the way or, give you some kind of a standard of measurement to let you know where you are, or if you're at the baseline or if you're above the baseline. There's none of that. It's all you, just you by yourself. You push you inspire you, and you are the one who gets yourself to that next level. So if you are used to having that incentive or having accolades presented to you at the end of the goal, then pushing yourself is going to be really, really hard because of the lack of incentive. If we're talking about things like maybe it's creating your own website or teaching yourself how to speak a new language even, or writing a book. I mean, these are all things that you have to push yourself to get to the next level. And it is so, so hard to push yourself. So if this is you and you identify with this, you are definitely, definitely not alone. I have felt this many times over where it's just like, oh my gosh, there's no incentive. I don't know what's on the other side. I don't know what is going to come my way as a result of me putting in all this work. But if this is you, I just have to tell you that don't let rewards and incentive and accolades be the reason that you do something. Do something because you're passionate about it. If you want to learn another language, do it because you're passionate about it. Not because it's going to look good on your resume or because it'll get you a higher salary. Do it because you want to do it, because it's important to you, because you're passionate about it. That in itself will give you that drive. The same goes for, I don't know, if you want to be a dancer. Don't do it because you want to get the accolades and the, responses and the attention, because if those things don't come, then you're not going to keep doing it. Do it because you're passionate about dancing. Even when nobody's watching your videos that you post or coming to your shows if you have them, keep doing it because you love it. That will keep you going. That will be your drive. So if you find yourself lacking incentive, look within towards yourself, look for your passion and figure out what that is, because that is really the only thing that's going to keep you going. Because I know for sure when it comes to Beyonce, nothing, I don't know about you, but nothing can make me eat. I think she said no carbs, no bread, just nothing. She basically couldn't eat anything for I don't know how long in order to get, the body that she had. Nothing can make me do that personally. So she had a drive that was greater than, oh, I want to impress these people at Coachella. She had that. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to tie it all together with the Coachella performance, but I'm just trying to help you see that the drive has to be greater than, oh, I'm going to get these accolades. Oh, I'm going to get this attention. Oh, I have this incentive, to basically do something to get a reaction or a response out of someone else. That's not going to last very long. It'll have you burning out, and it'll have you just uninspired and not continuing what you set out to do. So I know procrastination and lack of consistency is something that it happens to all of us, and it's so hard to get out of a rut, and it's easier said than done is really what it is. But if I can say anything to just encourage you today, it's just keep going, keep pushing. I'm telling myself the same thing every day. Just keep going, keep pushing. If you have a day where you just kind of you stop everything, you come to a stopping point and you're just like, I really can't do it today. That's okay. We're all human. Have your day. But the next day, get up and keep pushing even when you don't feel like it. If it's the gym, okay, and you want to, get more fit or whatever kind of gym goals you have, keep doing it even when you don't feel like doing it. I go to the gym when I literally I'm like, okay, I just want to be watching Hulu. I want to be watching Netflix. What am I actually doing? I'll find myself going on the elliptical, not even really, you know how you put your hands on I call them joysticks. Is it a joystick? I don't know. But you put your hands on there and then you do your legs in the same motion. Sometimes I don't even put my arms on there because I'm just so like, ugh, I don't want to be here. But I'm like, you know what? I know that exercising is good for me. I know that I want to get stronger. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep doing it. So if I can say anything about procrastination or just lack of consistency, lack of drive, just keep going. No matter what you identified with, whether it was fear of your insecurities, whether it was lack of inspiration or lack of incentive, I personally feel like the answer to all of it is just keep going no matter what. And eventually it'll just become a habit. It'll become like second nature. Eventually you'll just want to do it. So I hope this episode gave you some inspiration today. I hope it helped you if you felt like you were going through some procrastination struggles and you felt alone in it. Don't feel alone in it. We all go through it. I'm telling you, I go through it. And I am trying every day to get better and do better. And as long as you're making steps, even if they're small, clap for yourself. You know what I mean? Pat yourself on the back. You're doing something. But I just challenge you to just do something today to get started on your goals. And if you really, really, really are just like, I don't want to do this, just think about Beyonce. Think about the sacrifices she made for that incredible Coachella performance and go ahead and go watch that Netflix documentary so you can understand what I'm talking about. Of course, don't work yourself to the bone because I do think that Beyonce pushed herself a little too hard and she even said it herself, but let it be an inspiration to you that when you set your mind to something, if you just keep doing it, even though you can't see the other side, you'll see the other side eventually. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you again for listening, and I'll catch you next time.